After 4 years in this hardcore world, I've made some pretty cool builds. But there is one thing that's been nagging at me. The area between this build and this build is this awkward forest. And to bridge the gap between them, I need to build a quay. Alright, I googled it. It's not quay, it's pronounced key. Anyways, a key is a... And I want to build one right here, which means this forest is going away. The leaves, the logs, I already put them in these shulker boxes. It took about 7 hours to do that, but as 3-second time lapses, it would look like this. Riveting stuff. Now, this video is not just eye candy, you're gonna learn something. Welcome to my classroom, where today's lesson is the building process. Now, that seems like a long list, but it really isn't because we've already accomplished step 1, ideation, which was deciding what to build, in this case, a key, meaning we are already on step 2, inspiration and reference. You can find and organize your references in a vast number of ways, but I've opted for 2 that work for me. The first is making a Pinterest board of both directly relevant references and less direct, abstract artistic inspirations. The second is just a Google Doc with links to videos. I get that this one is a little weird, I could just make a playlist on YouTube, but I like being able to take out exact screenshots and take notes for myself. The main references here are videos by BOO, Playwright, and Shuckleshack. Once you've gathered all your references and inspiration, we can move on to step 3. The test builds. As you can see behind me, I've built up a few things already, but let's take a closer look. Starting with this build based on these 2 reference images of the Yaquina Head Lighthouse out on the coast of Oregon. Not to be confused with the Yaquina Bay Lighthouse, 5 miles south of it, that was Jane Wilson's final stop in seeing all of the public lighthouses along the Oregon coast. Good for you, Jane. Sounds like a fun trip, but I've digressed. Ultimately, I have a lighthouse for helping guide ships safely into harbor. What ships, you might ask? Well, I do already have this large steam-powered paddle boat, which I have to work around, but I've also designed a little tugboat based on these references, which I think has turned out to be quite adorable. One nice thing about spending the time to really refine the shape of a build like this is that by simply picking out a new block palette, you can get a free boost in variety. Instead of starting over and fully designing a new boat, I decided to lengthen the one that I have, add a crane arm and a new housing on top as a way to maximize my variety while keeping my effort to a minimum. Similarly, I've invested a bit of time designing this large spruce tree, and by adding in small variations to its height, trunk, and leaf layout, I've managed to extend the effort from the initial design to these 6 variants with ease. Now, one of the most important structures for this project is the dock/boardwalk. I've decided to base this loosely off of this reference image because I absolutely adore the look of buildings on stilts over the public walkway, which is also why I made all of these houses. Again, I've tightly focused on one specific design and let small changes and palette swaps create quick alternatives. The boardwalk also has these inset tracks that run through its center for the carts that the dock workers use to transport goods to and from the ships, which are loaded and unloaded by cranes. Now, all that sounds lovely, but how do I know that these disjointed pieces will work together? Well, that's why it's called test builds. We test the builds. And I have to say that this looks lovely. I'm satisfied with the builds that I have, how they mesh together, and I can always design more later if I need to. But for now, it's time for step 4, layout. Now, I can do this all in survival, but that's a bit too slow. Instead, I'm going to take a large schematic of this whole area and drop it into a creative world where tools like Axiom and World Edit can speed up the whole process. And so I can have a clean backup if I feel the need to start over. And with the layout completely done, it looks like this. And I've done enough terraforming where this after looks quite unrecognizable from the before.